Mm-hmm. Indexing. Need to do anything else there. Here. Join. Keep the rest I don't need to keep. Oh, Good evening, Sean.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Ready for another fun-packed DRC meeting. So, what's your big project right now?
Actually, a bunch of little ones right at the moment. We're just
Bunch of little
wrapping
ones
up
right
our
now.
big one. We did an addition up in Silver Plume.
Ah, okay. But you're staying busy.
Yes.
Good.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Do we know if Cindy was going to be on tonight?
She's right there.
Oh, she's in the dark. Okay, I see. All right. Well, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order then. Would you please take the roll?
Sure, Joan Eaton.
Here.
Sean Platt.
Here.
Cindy Neely.
Here.
Betsy Bexley.
Here.
Mark Reynolds. Bob Hamilton.
Yep.
Frank Ganser.
All right. Can we get approval of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And nobody on for audience business here.
Hey,
Kent, nobody on audience business, Kent? Okay. So first thing is Marv Geisness and Tom Peterson for the Lot 8 proposed Washington Mill site. And we have Craig tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, Tom.
Hello.
Okay. So I do have the site. This is for the board. I do have the sightings from the first house that we looked at over there. So if you want me to just kind of go through, you guys can follow along in the book. And if you want to add something, or do you want to go through the book and call them out to me like usual? Anybody?
I'm fine with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have room on my desk to have my book open and do all of this too, so I'm just gonna read off something else in the book and just stop me and let me know. Okay, Cindy, I don't think your volume is up. That's better. Maybe you were just too far away from it. Should be on the keyboard.
Okay.
Alrighty, so this is for Fred Elms. And did you have anything to say first, Tom, or were you gonna, actually, we were gonna look at a few parts of this.
Yeah, I'm confused about your reference to reading the sightings for Fred
Well,
Elms.
we had talked about it last time, probably after you were gone, that since this is in the same block and the houses are gonna pertain to the same rules, and this one seems to be following along, that we've kind of already got to set a little status quo here, but we do have some stuff to look at, so.
Nothing particular, I guess, right off the bat. I mean, we made some changes to our submittal, some window updates and some stone updates, just reducing the amount of stone and reducing our windows and kind of taking that information, but we can review that, I think, more in particular when we get to that part on, for our building.
Tom?
Yes.
Was there a question on height in the on the, well, it says southwest, but it's really the west, I think.
This is Craig. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Tom and I are going to tag team this a little bit.
You look about as tired as I feel, Craig.
Been sitting in front of a computer all day. That'll do it to you.
It will.
Tom, do you want to go ahead and talk about some of the modifications that you made, and I'll kind of go through the slides here?
Yeah, I guess the site plan pretty much remained the same there. And so, on our, go back to, first elevation, probably is best, just kind of walk through the elevations maybe.
Yeah.
And so on the front, and noted these up to kind of what we did there, the door, basically the door in the front porch and the windows we've lowered to a 7-foot header height. And as mentioned there, also our windows above on the upper level there on that elevation, those got reduced, and in reducing some of the amount of glass that was there, we pushed those two windows together before they kind of stacked above the dining room windows, but to keep egress and the proportions changed slightly. It seemed to make more sense, and that looked like a kind of a typical thing as well in the historical district, to have those upper windows kind of side by side up above. And yeah, that's kind of the highlights of the east elevation there, I think, of changes that were made. On the north elevation, we stepped down, the stone used to wrap around at that upper stone height that's shown kind of the left side of that garage there. We stepped that down as we went around, as the grade drops down, and carried that around to the west elevation. We've also, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there, the note there, we lowered the height of the stone. So it was up with that dashed line elevation where the stone was presented previously. And then, yeah, overall just reduce the windows of both the connector, the little connector piece at the bathroom, and the and down, I guess there's 2 bathrooms there, mudroom on the main level, bathroom down below. And then just on the main west elevation there, those windows all reduced. Every one of them got reduced. So again, on the bottom level, we reduced the head height there, as well as the window size. And then on the main level, reduced the width. And on those, I think the height is overall the same on those, if I recall correctly. And then the biggest comment that I think made a good improvement was the comment of the uppermost window there. That was, again, a full-size window as the ones below it, that we reduced it even further as well and dropped it below the little shingle under the gable. And let's see. Yeah, south elevation. Yeah, again, we changed the door styles there. Before, we had kind of a patio door style, which gave it a lot more vertical and maybe proportionally didn't seem as appropriate in the historical district. So we went to a more traditional, just a half light door, for a couple panels down below the doorknob and door style there, and with a divided light window to more reflect the windows and be in more proportion with the windows. And yeah, and then again, the windows there that the mouse is at, those are that match the 7-foot head height that wrap the porch back to the east elevation where we started. And those are the highlights of the updates that we made to the building.
You're keeping the 8-foot doors on D2 and D5, which are the back part of the south elevation?
Just D2 is the only 8-foot door, and we kept those in the head height at 8 feet. We thought that was important, both from in proportion with the building, but we've got a vaulted space in there, and so that we're concerned from the interior view of that, as well as to keep that head height, so we'd have a little more vertical window out the west elevation too, where the views are to the mountains, as well as to the southwest. So kind of out those windows as well to the west, to the views down, the valley towards the I-70 corridor there towards Silver Plume. So those we kept at an 8-foot height. Everything else went down to a 7-foot height.
This is Craig. I'll just point out too, we went through several iterations of this. We looked at 6'8", traditional 6'8", 7, and 8-foot orientations on this elevation. And quite honestly, when we got to a 6'8" header height over here, it didn't look right. It created they looked too small for the elevation. Let's put it that way. The appearance just wasn't there, but 7 seemed to match pretty well.
But it's still an 8-foot door, correct?
The D2 is right here.
Our comment was that there is no 8-foot doors down in that neck of the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'll point out that that the guideline doesn't prohibit 8-foot doors. The guideline does say that buildings should generally have more of a vertical emphasis, including their windows and doors. And again, as we shorten this, which we did in several iterations, it did not lend itself well to that point.
And I would just add that the window, the glass is made consistent with the other windows to make it appear as though it's a window. And with the railing obscuring the lower part of that door, it will appear very much like just another window on that face.
But then what do you say about the one down below it?
That one's a 7-foot door,
That's a 7?
as is both those doors on that lower level are 7-foot doors.
Okay, all right.
So that is the only 8-foot door?
Correct.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I was thinking that about the railing too, that you don't see the whole door. So
Yeah, I'm fine with it. With the
nobody's ever going to take that railing off and not put it back. So
Hope not.
Well, I have to agree with it. Once I glue it up, I can see it a little better. Yep, I agree.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And so the stone then, the lowering the stone around, yeah, that part of it, I think is looks good. Looks a little less domineering. And the window,
Yeah, we thought that helped create, back to the vertical emphasis that Craig pointed out previously.
Yeah.
Too, that helped with that element there on this elevation, make that read a little bit more vertical.
yeah, somehow it doesn't make the building look as tall or something for some reason.
yeah, I think it helped in the height appearance.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I like the changes that you've made. I think they look good.
So I did stop by town hall to look at the samples that were down there, and the stone was actually pretty cool. It looks like it's got, lichens on it and stuff. I mean, it was pretty
Yeah, I
impressive.
think our intent, and I believe that's the same stone that is used around the courthouse, which is it's a natural stone. It's a thin
Yeah.
veneer stone still, but it is a natural thin cut stone that really does lend itself. I agree. Once we all talked about that, Marv and Craig and myself, we talked about that. And
Yeah.
Marv really liked that stone too. And all of us agreed that's very,
Good stone, yes.
it's a perfect match for Georgetown.
Yeah, it was a great choice. And the siding looked fine. Did anybody else have a chance to look at that stuff?
I did.
Okay, the siding and the shingles were great. So, okay. All right. We got garage door. Did we need a definitive picture on the garage door there?
Yeah, this one is one we pulled off the web after we had submitted those drawings. Marv, we found this one, and Marv really liked the look of this one here, which is very similar to what we have on the elevations, but that was kind of the look we were after.
And is that actually composite? It's not metal?
No, that one is not a metal door.
Okay. All right. Is that going to be painted?
I'm thinking we might just keep that as the wood color. It might be painted or find a manufacturer's color that works well with the final building colors.
Okay, so I'm going to express my opinion on that, and if anybody else has a different one, you're welcome to speak up. The wood, the natural wood looking or looking like real wood, I think would be fine. If it's going to be painted, usually our preference is not to paint it in a color that stands out, like to highlight it, to make it more look like the wall, the building itself.
Yeah, I think I would agree to that, and I think whereas that elevation shows, if anything, it would be a slightly different color, so it doesn't just look like the same same color, but muted and probably slightly darker. So similar to that, if it is a painted color.
Right.
If it's left natural wood, it will jump out.
Yeah,
because it is dramatically different than the whole rest of the house. And so I think there should be some consideration to our guidelines say we don't want a garage to dominate a street front. And this is a double garage on a street front. And yes, it is certainly subordinate to the house. But I think the question becomes, does leaving it in natural create the very thing that we're trying not to create by directing attention to garage doors on the street?
I would agree with your comment that, because as we flip back to that elevation, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, that dark might be a little darker than that. So there, painted, painted. So yeah, I think it would be better to match, either our trim color or the final color palette is still under review, I guess, or under.
Okay, so subtle difference in the paint color between the actual wall it sits in and the door, so that it's not standing out.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
we go. Painted to complement scheme.
Because our guideline on page 55 says that a garage door should be designed to minimize the apparent width of the opening. And it says use materials on the door that are similar to the wall surface of the primary structure. But the next line is the point. This will make it read as an integral part of the structure. And that's the way we want it to read, as an integral piece, not as this is the thing to look at.
Agreed.
No quarrels.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll find a.
So I'm just learning, of course, a lot of things in this process. What is the overall height of the house, please?
I can jump in if you want, Tom.
Yeah.
I guess if you want the overall height of the house, Tom can probably pull that up. The height as defined in the zoning regulations is 25 feet. And that's to this point right here.
Yeah, great, Craig.
The next one up.
Sorry, right here. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
But Betsy, the height is measured to the midpoint of the highest gable.
Oh, okay.
It's not measured to the top of the highest gable. That's what's confusing about height. Because if you have a high-pitched roof, you have a few feet above the midpoint of a gable.
Okay, so everybody's comfortable with this. This is okay.
Well, essentially, yeah, that's what the zoning determines the potential height of a building.
Okay.
And yes, the other thing is that because the land slopes the way it does, if you look at the bottom line there, it's going to say post-construction grade,
Mhm.
because the grading matters. But then it becomes, are you measuring the front of the house or the rear of the house? I think we also need to remember that this house will have two smaller houses in back of it. So the view of it from the street below, from Main Street, will be broken at some point by other houses, two other houses that sit along Main Street.
Okay, and another question that I had walking around the site today. What are the rules for how far apart these houses are from each other?
That also is a
Those are
zoning,
basically setbacks. Yeah.
Go ahead, Cindy.
yeah, it's a zoning
Yeah.
consideration.
So they're.
There are setbacks from all sides. The setback from the front is more usually than the setbacks on the side. But if you look at the plot plan they put up there, the inner diagram is the setback line, and that is established by zoning. And in the historic zone, they can also only cover 40% of, isn't it 40? Somebody
yes,
correct me.
yes.
It is.
40% of the lot with building. Actually, 40% is a whole lot, but you can see the front setback has to be 10 feet. The rear and side setbacks only off the edge of the property line only have to be 5 feet.
So when the next house goes up, about how far apart from each other will they be?
Well, on this side, they are close to their setback. So it depends on where the next house goes on lot 7.
So that's something we'd be looking at.
It is, except that they are only required to be off their property line by 5 feet. So theoretically, you can have houses that are 10 feet apart.
Wow. Okay.
So Betsy, I think what you're asking is that's actually not our
Deal. Right.
concern. I mean, we care, but we don't review it to make sure it fits within the setbacks because that's already been done before we get it. And if there's a question of setbacks or something, then it has to be reviewed, but we're not the ones that determine and make sure of that.
Okay. All right. And then one other question I had is on Biddle Street, is Biddle Street going to stay the same width that it is right now? Or is it?
I can,
There is the legal width of Biddle Street, and then there is the actual surface of Biddle Street. The legal width of Biddle Street
There's
is,
the what of Biddle Street? Say that again.
there's the legal width,
Oh,
Biddle
okay.
Street.
All right.
Most of our streets are laid out as 40 feet wide. You wouldn't believe that.
No, I wouldn't.
The actual width.
The actual width of most of them is someplace between 22 and the driving width of them is mostly between 22 and 25 feet. They were laid out the way they were to provide for 5-foot sidewalks on either side of the street and a planting strip. But that's not what happened as the town developed. So I don't actually know that there's an answer to your question of whether the town will ever choose to use its right of way. Because if you look at where the line of Biddle Street is and where the lot line is,
Yeah.
Biddle Street actually runs right along that lot line.
Right.
That's not no man's land in the middle there.
Right. That's what I was looking at today. So
They
So-
can't build on it, but it's not no man's land.
right. Yeah, so then off to the right of Biddle Street, I saw houses with kind of difficult access up kind of a ramp driveway.
Above the
So
line.
where the Niesel house is, Niesel house.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
in other, we're not, the plan is not to extend the width of the street. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's no plan. Yeah. These plans will never do anything with streets.
Okay. You know, I wasn't addressing it to the homeowner. I'm sorry. I was just
Oh, yeah,
wondering.
sorry. I
looking at
realized
the
after I spoke up to you.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
we don't review that part.
I appreciate your being patient.
Oh.
Thank you.
Ask away. Gotta-
Okay. No good questions?
Joan, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
There is a part of the subdivision improvement agreement. There'll be a little bit of, it's only a few feet. It's like 3 or 4 feet.
Where?
For about a little section back towards Lock 6. That Biddle will be, there'll be a little bit of improvement to Biddle, but that'll just be,
Feet.
yeah, that Craig's showing it on the screen now.
Yeah, I see that.
And
So what
where
about,
that dark line is,
yeah,
where that's, and then you can see the little dotted lines are the topography and
yeah.
where that bulge comes out
Mhm,
on Biddle.
mhm.
It'll just be widened at that point
How many-
to between the current surface and that is, I don't know, it's like 4 feet or something. So it's not going to affect the Nisel house, and it's not going to affect the ramp into the property to where Gibbs lives behind there.
So they
But
could still get a moving truck in there.
they'll still be able to get into their properties, yes. So, but that's part of the subdivision improvement agreement. That's part of the final plat application that's going to the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
that's being taken care of. So it's kind of concurrent. There's stuff that happens with another board, and then there's the individual properties that are presented to this board at the DRC. So,
All right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that clarification.
sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm looking at my list from last time, and we've covered the points that we wanted specifically addressed, and we've seen the materials. And you, I'm sure you had notes on it as well, so I won't belabor it, but driveway color, 50-year shingles, that would, the roof vents and pipes and anything else painted, non-reflective. And I think everything else we've covered. So does anybody else have anything else?
Lights? Is that in there?
We did mention they're aware of the dark sky, and then we did look at lighting that's on the house. And it's,
Elevations do, there's basically a couple lamps outside of each door, which is required by code. Kind of light outside of doors. Yeah, so the side view there. And we got one on either side of the garage, one at the, back to that front elevation
And they will be full cutoffs, not full cutoffs, dark skies?
exactly, yep. Yeah, and that's labeled there I think that's item number 11 on that materials notes list, exterior light fixture, full cutoff, shielded.
As you know, Cindy, I'm a very strong proponent of that. I guarantee you that these will be dark sky compliant on every house.
Thanks, Marv. I know you are.
Joan, we could use the same stipulations we used on the March 11th meeting too.
yep, I've got those right here. So that's what I was saying. If you want to follow along in the book, I'll read what I have. And if you see something else you want added in particular for this one, just speak up. I don't have room to open my book and look while I'm doing it, so I'll just take notes. So I will start if everybody's ready.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're in book 2, page 9, section 1, A, B, and C.
Yes.
All right, moving to page 10.
So,
We
you know,
have-
Joan, that's really all of A too. I mean, it's not just A, it's A 1, 2, and 3. I mean, it's the whole thing.
Oh, okay, and I think that's kind of what we do, but I can, so somebody will have to tell me because I'm not looking. There's 1, 2, and 3 on A.
Yes, and there's one on B, and there is one on C.
So it's B1 and C1?
Yes, you know, because it's everything on that page. That's the mass and size page, which is
Yeah, okay.
the vital one.
Okay, so on page 10, we have A. Anything else? I only have A here, so if we need more specifics, let me know. B, B1, and B2. Page 11, chapter 5. We have 3 and 3A. So is that section 3?
Yeah.
Okay, section 3. And just 3A. All right, page 44.
I mean, it could have A1 too, but it doesn't need to have. Page 44.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go.
Section 5.
Yeah.
And I have B and D.
Yeah, do we talk about landscaping at all?
In the first meeting we did, we can go back on the site.
No, it's just,
It's on the site plan.
okay, all right, that's all I was asking.
And we said they wouldn't take the trees down, the existing trees that were there.
Okay.
And so is there anything specific under B or D? Just the whole thing?
B and B1.
Okay. And now we're going to page 48.
Yeah, you could do a lot under D, but you don't need to.
Okay.
We have enough. Page 48. Yeah, this is landscaping.
All right, I have A.
A1.
Okay. Anything else?
And A3.
Okay. All right, page 50, section 2, I have B.
Well, this is about retaining wall. And so they do have walls here.
Yeah, they're not shown in stone on the pictures that we have, but they're stone walls, none of them over 2 feet in height, correct?
Right. So on page 50, I would say, because B says maintain the historic height, form, and detail of retaining walls, but we also have D, which is a new retaining walls, use materials similar to those historically. And natural rock or stone should be used for a new retaining wall. And while it's a facade, it is natural rock
Okay.
that they're using. So
Okay.
that's D and D1.
And it shows on the site plan the retaining walls on the, I guess at the south side. And they're shown in stone.
The big one?
Yeah, the big stone, the two.
Okay,
How big is big?
on the big picture.
Yeah, the height, nothing
I
more
was just looking at my elevations page because I don't have room to spread everything out. And so I did not see that was, but I knew they were going to be stone. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, we ready?
That says that we're minimizing the heights of new retaining walls, and essentially you're doing that by double walling it.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, that first one is the lower one is about a 24-inch, just a couple feet, and then some plantings in between the walls, shown in green there, and then about a 4-foot high retaining wall there. Hoping to find some stones there on site. As the
Stones? Do we have
Well, rocks and boulders, and
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, this is-
Joan,
Yes.
on page 50, then we have E and
Okay.
E1,
Okay.
and actually E2. They're working on to contour it to limit the sizes of their walls.
Okay. All righty. Page 54, chapter 5, I have A. And I'm sorry, I don't really know to what all these pertain. I would say it.
This is lighting, and yeah, you've got A and you've got A1, and you have well, you have all of A. You have A3, A4.
Not 2.
And you have, where are we, 55?
54.
We were on 54. Are you done with that?
4, yeah, okay. Yes, 54.
Okay, 55, section 6, I have A, B, D, D1, and D2.
Okay, that's all about the garage. I don't think that we can consider avoid parking in the front yard. Essentially,
Okay,
we're saying that we hope they pull the cars in the garage. But we.
well, I always took that to mean don't pull off the street into your yard. We have seen.
But I think we have B,
Okay,
and then we have, what you said, D and D1 and D2.
yes. Okay.
That's
To-
where the garage gets melted into the building somehow.
Yes. Okay, page 58, section 9.
Yeah, that's utilities. You covered all of the vents and stuff, right?
Yes, so I have A.
You have A, yeah, minimize the visual appearance.
Okay. Page 64.
There are no satellite dishes, huh? 64.
Section 3, I have A, A1, B, and C.
64, section 3.
Yeah,
I've got section 1.
Yeah, me too.
okay,
And there is no D.
okay. I didn't say
So we have
D.
something wrong with
Yeah, 64 is not right.
64 is just not right at all. But we do have on 64, A,
Okay, so what page, so on 64, what section?
it's section 1,
Okay,
and we have A, respective time and place. And B, avoid stylistic ornamentation that confuses the history of Georgetown.
okay. And I had C.
No,
Okay. Well, these are 4 different houses, so, okay.
yes, but that also, that page is, I don't know what we were talking about there, because it has no, well, maybe, yeah, it is in section 3, it's section 1.
I can go back and just cross-reference my notes with Susan's and see if that's just something, but when you guys are calling out numbers and letters and stuff, it's easy to transpose something into something else. Okay, page 67.
Yeah, that's section 4.
Yes, I have B.
B is right.
Okay,
We can also say A.
okay. And then page 69, I have F and F1.
It's actually section 6.
Okay,
I would also think, because we worked on these windows, that you have D. They're maintaining the historic subdivision of window lights.
okay,
But definitely they're doing F.
okay, F1 as well.
Yes.
Okay. Page 70. And I have H, 2, and J.
We're not, it's made of hardy plank, isn't it? Is
It's a
that the,
hard-
It's not exactly hardy plank, is it?
It's a hardboard siding.
But it's not cement board.
I remember, yeah, not cement board. Hardy board is cement board.
yes, it's cement board, right? So this is not, so it's wood?
It's basically a wood composite that's put together in a man.
It's the LP Smart side. It's an engineered
It's engineered hardwood?
hardwood product is kind of how it's termed, but it's not cement board. Like
Okay.
hardy.
Kind of like masonite, but not really masonite. Yeah, again, there's a sample of that at the town that would both apply to the material. The sample there is really just of the siding that's there, but it would apply to both the trim materials and the vertical textured.
H also refers to windows. I know you discussed this when I wasn't here, but what kind of windows are these?
Wood clad aluminum, or wood windows, aluminum clad wood windows. So the exterior would be the aluminum. and the construction is wood.
Yeah, but this is because on historic houses, we have said that's inappropriate, but this isn't a historic house.
Yes. So do you have different sightings on page 70 than what I've said? Or does somebody want to tell me what they want on page 70
Mm,
or anything?
yeah, because these sightings that you have refer to windows or doors. They
Okay.
don't refer to the materials and use, because this is saying that the windows will use the same materials that is used historically, wood. But H refers to replacing a window or door on a historic structure.
So
It doesn't,
what's H2?
H2 is use the same material wood as is used historically.
Okay, so that's not good.
So that one, no, that doesn't, because,
What was J?
and this,
How about I and I1?
yes, I would think that instead of H, yes, Sean, we do want to be doing I.
I and I1. Okay.
I2 and
I3.
Yeah, I and I 1, 2, and 3, yes.
And I think we should probably include J.
Yes.
Okay. Is that it? And I've got page 81.
Yeah, this has this house has some porches, yes?
Some what?
It has a porch.
Yes.
Porch and a deck.
A porch and a deck, so I think we should look at page 71.
Okay.
Or actually, it is section 7, but it's actually on page 72, where it's D. The use of a porch on any new residential building is strongly encouraged. And D1, it should be similar in scale to those used historically, but large enough to function as more than just an entry landing.
Okay.
And then G, decks and balconies may be appropriate.
Okay.
What was the deck material?
So it'll be a wood frame deck, and then the Trex, or also talked about in the IPay decking. With the
Okay. And we
EPA
should
is a natural wood product, needs very little maintenance, lasts a long time.
What's the name of that?
What is the name of it?
IPE is the spelling of it.
Is it like Trex?
No, it's a 100% natural wood product.
Really?
Wow.
It's a dense hardwood, natural,
Very
natural
dense.
preservatives. Basically, it's the way the saps and whatever in it is kind of naturally preserved hardwood.
Do we ever approve Trex?
Oh, yes, for
Yes.
decks, yes.
Not necessarily for front porches though, right?
Yes, correct. Not
Okay.
necessarily for front porches. Whoa,
There we go.
that's good looking stuff.
Wow.
Pretty.
Yeah, it looks like wood.
Yeah.
there's wood.
It is what,
It is.
It looks like wood.
Okay, so G, just G and nothing else under G?
No, G, G3. The new properties, balconies are appropriate if the design is incorporated into the design of the building.
Okay.
They don't like second story decks.
Okay.
We don't really have one of those. So I
Uh,
think we should
you
add,
wanna Include H for handrails.
yes,
Okay. We done on that?
yeah, but we should do page 73,
Okay.
and that's section 8. And B and B1, a clear distinction between the foundation and the wall material.
Okay.
Certainly have that.
Okay. My next citing is on page 81. So if you find anything before that, let me know.
Page 74
Okay.
is section 9. D, a stovepipe on any building, Mr. Craig, should have a matte, non-metallic, dark finish.
Ouch.
Even a brewery.
Even a brewery.
Okay.
Faithful promise this spring.
Okay.
The painters up there.
Oh, boy.
In case you think I'll forget.
Okay. So it's just D.
Yes,
Okay.
I couldn't resist, sorry.
All right.
Go on.
Anything else before 81?
Just as an FYI, we don't anticipate a stovepipe on our building here. We do have a direct vent fireplace, which will direct out the side, which up on the screen there on the west elevation. It's actually on the north wall there, right at the. It'll
Yeah.
pop off the wall a little bit there, but that'll be painted to match the siding.
Right,
Always good to know though, right?
yes.
Okay. Page 81, we're ready?
Page 81.
Yes. Section 5. I have A and A1, B, C, D, D1, and D2.
Where's B2?
Yeah,
Okay.
I go with that.
All right. Page 82, section 6 is
You
C.
want D4, just physical samples.
Okay.
Yes.
We did do that. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Page 82, section 6, I have C and C1.
Yeah,
Okay. And then page 83, I have E.
What was that, section 6? I'm sorry, was that the roof materials?
yes,
Well, C1 doesn't work because it needs to be a 50-year.
And we need to change that in our guidelines.
yeah, it says 30-year or greater.
Yeah, okay, but we actually say 50 now.
Yeah, we need to change that 30
You
to,
need to change that.
So that's on page 82. It's probably in several sections.
One. Oh, actually, yeah, maybe not. 50.
Page.
Or just cross out 30 and put in 50, is that right?
Actually, Betsy, to change the guidelines, we have to take them to the town board and have them agree to the changes. So what we do is collect up a bunch of changes.
Got it.
And then, so that we mark our spaces so we know where the changes are, so we can go to the one.
Like arbitrarily cross things out.
Yeah, we can't change them by ourselves. But that is something that's been changed by building codes or something
Yes.
already. So we
Yes.
need to change ours accordingly.
Okay.
So we'll
Yeah,
put
because
that on.
the building inspector will just come along and make them do it.
Yeah.
So in that one, we might as well tell them
Yeah.
up front.
So we just put that on our list of things that we'll need to, like, things come up sometimes where it hasn't been addressed before, like I think decks and some of the more modern materials and things from when the guidelines were written, we've had to go back and address it from time to time.
Okay,
Joan, you can just put that on the front sheet as a stipulation, 50-year shingle.
50-year shingles, okay. they knew, they were aware of that as well.
You know, it's good to have it in writing.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, did we talk about gutters? Are you having gutters?
Yeah, we reviewed that before. We go back to those elevations there, but yes, painted to match the trim and fascia that they'll be up against. And if we pass in front of any siding, we'll paint it to match the siding.
Hey, Joan, did you have E in there
On page 83?
on 83?
Yes.
Okay,
That's the only thing I have on page 83.
okay.
And that is the last thing that I had listed on here.
And that is the last thing you should have listed.
Okay. So you just want the 50-year shingles as a stipulation, and I didn't have anything else because everything else has been addressed. Correct.
How about drainage? How about a drainage plan as a stipulation? Because we have that for Fred Elms.
Yes, we do.
Kent, didn't you send that out for the whole subdivision? Did I get an email about that?
They have a drainage plan for the entire subdivision, but not for the, yeah, I mean, as part of the subdivision
So
application.
is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about this specific house?
I think what y'all are talking about is the drainage for the specific house or a drainage plan
Yes.
for this specific
Okay.
lot.
Craig, do you have something like that? Who's sharing, Tom or Craig?
That's Craig Sharon, but I can.
Oh, okay.
Our site plan, yeah, our general drainage is, there's some drainage arrows on there that will generally happen. Some spot the topos that have been modified to positive drainage away from the building as required by code. And then that version there is that's the overall subdivision drainage. So.
Yeah, so here's lot 8. And the overall drainage plan directs drainage to the step back areas and then through easements down on the lower lots here. So that we don't have rogue water running into the back of the next guy's house.
Okay.
Just a question on, so like on lot 3, 4, and 5, those houses are all going to be 10 feet apart. Is that correct?
Not necessarily. It depends on where they site the house on the lot.
And how big the house is.
So it could be tighter than 10 feet?
No, it cannot be tighter, but they may be further apart than that because it depends on how they site the house.
Okay.
If they center it or put it closer to one side and how big it is in general.
Okay.
And
You know,
all
I
of
just- I
those
just-
houses,
I'm sorry. Concrete. We should mention that it should be tended to the Davis color, any concrete.
what's concrete about this?
The driveway and sidewalk.
Ugh. Are we really doing concrete sidewalks?
Yeah, the other house had it.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
What,
We have used a double color on town sidewalks for the and as opposed to on curbs, we use 1 pound in 1 pound per 96 pounds of concrete, and for sidewalks, we use 2 pounds of the Davis color of the sandstone.
I'm
Correct.
okay with that.
And I hope at some point we can discuss sidewalks.
so when a person builds a house here, they also put in their sidewalk?
This is a no, it's not on the street. It's from the garage to the front door to the front
Yeah.
porch.
These are not sidewalks, they are interior walkways, and
Walkway.
that's, I just, I hope the commission at some point can have a discussion on what we do with interior walkways. because on page 49, it says that we define interior walkways as walkways within a property to distinguish them from sidewalks, and that appropriate materials include flagstone, brick, gravel, or exposed aggregate concrete. Standard broom finish or screed concrete and asphalt are not appropriate. And we keep approving them.
Why do you keep approving them?
I'm not sure.
Because they're practical.
Well, for people, moving here at retirement age and shoveling issues and, safety issues, I guess.
I think you'd run into an ADA deal. If it's not a decent surface.
Mark, I've lived 50 years with my brick sidewalks.
I know. How many times have you fallen?
Not a single time.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, actually not once. I pulled out all the concrete. It was all concrete.
Okay.
So.
It's
should-
an issue for us to discuss at some point.
Perhaps not tonight.
Perhaps not tonight.
Well, and again, historic versus new construction, I think we're going there. Okay, so.
So-
Anybody got anything else?
It's just a concrete walk, right?
Yeah.
And it's stained the sandstone color that the Georgetown sidewalks are stained. Nobody? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulations.
The only stipulations are the 50-year shingles and the stained concrete in the Davis color sandstone.
And I think we should stipulate
I
that.
have a few more. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a few more.
the dark sky stuff and,
Well, that's not really a stipulation because the building inspector is aware of that and they're aware of that. We don't stipulate that, do we?
Yes.
And it's right on the drawing.
I kind of just copy the one from the last house, And,
Okay,
and the vents painted and what else?
yeah, well,
Yeah,
and
all of that stuff on their drawings.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think what we do need to stipulate is that we're working, which drawings we're working from.
okay,
Because a piece of a problem that we have run into on other kinds of things is that we see changes and somehow earlier drawings get given to the building.
so we somehow want the March 31st version of all of these as our final,
Yes,
okay.
we do.
Good idea.
Because that's where the gap occurs with us in the building department at times.
Okay. Okay, did I hear a second?
Yeah, you had a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Joan,
Yes,
if we're finished, can I ask a couple of updates of Kent?
yes, so you're done with Marvin, Craig, and Tom?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd just like to thank each of you for your constructive comments over the last couple of meetings. I think we have a much better product, and I really do appreciate what you've all added to it.
well, you're welcome, thank you.
Mark.
Second it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Jealous of your garage.
Okay, Cindy?
Yeah, it did, and I missed the last meeting, so did we ever get any feedback? What happened to the project down across the street from the apartments, the commercial?
Kent, you want to answer? I just asked Kent that the other day. Do you want to answer?
Just for our record, because we did discuss it.
You're talking about on the west side of Argentine at
Yeah.
20th of the commercial piece of property? The
Yes.
encroachment license is going to be on the agenda for the next Board of Selectmen meeting.
What did the
We held it
planning-
off. What's
What
that?
did the planning commission do?
They recommended approval with the fire authority's approval or comments included. They didn't have the
compliant with-
complete comment from the fire authority as yet, but they had some additional comments, but it's included in the background material to the Board of Selectmen. But they
Oh.
recommended approval of the encroachment.
Can,
And
we never did,
specifically,
we never did official, we were never asked for an official commentary,
a recommendation.
a recommendation. We never made a recommendation.
Because he had to see if he could get the,
You see, that really confused me. When this came to us, it was, oh, we're just having this general discussion. It wasn't, dear DRC, you need to be making a recommendation to the Planning Commission.
That was a
this is an encroachment license. The Planning Commission makes a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen regarding the encroachment license.
And we.
I'm sorry, my computer goes out right at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So it freezes on me for about 30 seconds and I have to wait. And
So we.
every single meeting at 7 o'clock. So
Every single meeting at 7 o'clock. So we have no opinion on encroachment licenses, is what you're telling me.
not according to the encroachment license procedure that was passed in 2005 by the Board of Selectmen. I'm just following that procedure is what I'm.
Right,
doing.
right. No, because, and we did discuss it, but we never filled out one of those, we have.
Right. No, it doesn't have a referral form from the DRC. The referral is really from the Planning Commission to the Board of Selectmen, and then the Board of Selectmen decides whether or not they will sign the agreement for it
Now,
regarding that encroachment license.
and there was discussion about them coming back to talk to us about the design. of
Oh,
the-
yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have to come back for the design. Yeah, for the building itself, they have to, there's going to be lots of discussion if it would get approved.
Yep.
As far as the building itself and
Okay,
site plan and all that. They did change their plan, Cindy, as far as recognizing the Peak the Plains Trail, and they widened the entrance and exits to accommodate a comment from the fire authority. So they have done that. So.
But I shouldn't throw them away yet.
no,
no,
No, no.
no.
we had a nice little sort of moment where we said it sort of looked like a strip mall and we weren't really crazy about it. And they said they would come back and work with us, and they'd worked on other Victorian structures before. So,
Hopefully. That won't-
I think the facade would change significantly. They got to figure out whether they'll actually have, it's a big problem, whether to develop the lot at all. The only way to really develop it is if you're able to put some of the parking
yeah.
and especially the entrance and exit that's what the encroachment license is about.
Yeah, they have to park
Um,
on the town, the entire time.
Yeah, there's really no other way
No,
to make the lot work.
I
So,
understand that, but an encroachment license is something they can take back at any given moment.
correct, so that there's no structures on there's just stuff that can be taken over if there was some reason the town wanted it back.
Okay.
But
That
then-
was the same with the other encroachment license at the Creek House condos, where it's really just the extension of the parking lot. And it's the Rose Street right away, but it's not being used for the town for any purpose.
Okay.
So
I had another.
that's to come.
Okay, next update. Where are we with Strauss Park?
We are with the electrical engineer and the civil engineer. They are still finishing whatever construction plans. And then once those are completed, I was trying to give them a deadline. I don't know if they'll make it at this point.
Is this,
of coming back to the DRC at the second meeting in April, but I just got an update this week and I don't think that's going to happen. So it'll probably be the first meeting in May for the DRC,
is
Are you
this,
that those
hoping to
plans
do
will
it
come back to
this
the
summer?
DRC. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to do anything that would cause a disruption to Christmas market. So already starting to think of, well, maybe we could just do the bathrooms, you know, or some other part of the entire project.
Gotcha. Maybe we
But
can.
not, it's going to be more than a 1-year project anyway. There's not a way money wise that we're going to be able to do it in 1 year's money. So it's a pretty big project. So, you know, it's continuing to drag on, and it's cutting our time to be able to do something.
Yeah,
But the bathrooms could probably be done. So, you know, we got the rough end to the edge of Strauss Park. We could run the utility lines, and it's, you know, a bathrooms that's going to be manufactured and then set in place. We can probably have a set of bathrooms ready. Now, as far as the booths and everything else, the tree is going to be removed
why?
in Strauss Park.
it's dead.
It's dying.
Oh,
It's dead.
Which
Half
one?
of it's dead. The other half is pretending to be alive. So, and we have a quote for a replacement tree. So we'll have some sort of ceremony when we take out the tree and have the new tree put in place. So some of the other people talk about, but so the tree will be taken care of. But as far as the rest of the project, it's a big project. It's going to be multiple years. And since we weren't able to have Christmas market last year, there's no way I'm going to set it up to
No.
not cause a disruption to Christmas market this year. There may be other reasons for disruptions. It won't be from here.
Okay. Cindy, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I had one other thing. I've had some extensive conversations with the State Historic Preservation Office about handling the Section 106 process. And they have been very interesting. It turns out legally, actually, that they are not a superior government agency to their certified local governments in that process. Even if they concur that something doesn't have an adverse impact, if we, as a certified local government, feel that it does, we can call for negotiations on those points. And if the entity that is either federally funded or federally licensed does not want to talk to us, we can essentially ask for the federal supervision of this consulting arrangement to help make that happen. What I would like to do, because we get Section 106 requests, maybe consultation things, and it mattered a lot to where they put those sirens and the height of those sirens, and it mattered to the color of that pole behind the county. And many of you don't remember, but it mattered when CDOT decided they wanted to use our shore as the place for their extra sand when they used to be sanding the highway. And you know, so some of our 106 stuff matters to us. So I thought maybe I would put together a little thing for everybody's book that's just talked about. These are Section 106 procedures.
Okay.
When you receive one, we actually have these rights.
okay.
Because what CDOT's doing lately, and this is not the county's fault, this is what CDOT's been doing lately. They go to the state first and they get a concurrence, and then they come to us and say, well, what's your opinion? But these guys have already said that we're okay.
Mm. Mm.
in order to sort of make us be quiet.
Oh,
They
dear.
can't do that.
No, technically they can't do that. And so I think that, you know, it was a very interesting kinds of conversations. This came up because of the electronic vehicle stations, the station that's going in. The county has not yet received a plan. You know, see, Section 106, they were asking us to comment on the plan before the county even had a plan. And the county has not yet received the plan. When the county does receive the plan, they will apply for a regular permit from the town of Georgetown. So they will end up coming to the commission about the electronic vehicle charging station. And we had indicated in our letter that our concerns were lighting and signage and some of the basic colors used. But you know, the county will do that. So I'm not worried about the electronic vehicle charging station at all. It was the fact that the whole process was sort of being ramrodded.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks for working on that, Cindy.
Yes.
Well, it's a point of, I run into it a fair amount in the work I do for the county also. So I thought, you know, at some point we got to get the legalities of this a little straighter. So
I had one other question, and it doesn't have to be belabored or take more than a minute, but we're a National Historic Landmark District, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, and so there are only about 2,000 of those in the United States, I believe.
Right.
And I've been working at West Point on this because they are a National Historic Landmark. So I've been studying a lot, but all in terms of there being a federal property. So where do I find the rules and regulations and the legalities for the National Historic Landmark District as it applies to Georgetown?
We are not a federal property. We are,
Right, I understand that.
yeah.
So I'm not familiar with this as a non-federal property. So that's why I want to read about this. And I wondered, is there, just go online or?
Yeah, actually the National Park Service in the Denver Service Center has two people, Justin Henderson and Astrid Lieberman, who are work with National Historic Landmarks. And you know, there are landmarks that are items and there are districts, but they also work with districts, and they could tell you what the National Park Service role is. Part of that comes into the 106 consultations.
Mhm.
If we don't think we're getting a fair deal, we go to daddy and knock on the door.
Yep, right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, I'll explore that. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask, I think I just found the answer tonight when we were doing this house. Susan, sorry, not Susan, Jen asked me today when I was at town hall, the guy that we did Cook, James Cook, over on, I want to say Taos Street, I can't remember now.
No, it's
Yeah.
1551 Main Street.
Thank you, thank you. They wanted to take down a fence and it was in their backyard, and I think Cindy even said nobody would have even known if they'd taken it down or not. They also want to put a retaining wall back there. It's 2 feet, but they wanted to use railroad ties. And their question to Jen was, do they have to come to us? And I told her I was going to get back to her, but I don't think we do railroad ties, do we?
Sometimes I don't, what does landscaping say?
It said natural materials if possible. And I know it's really steep, so I don't know if the railroad ties would be better for the application or not. But do they need to come in for this? If it's a 2-foot retaining wall?
Well, because it's 2 foot, it doesn't need a building permit.
But if it's railroad ties, is that?
There's something where it gives a height of landscape thingies that, you know.
what, that you have to come in for or not?
Yeah, and I don't.
So my question was more really about the material than the height, because I know the 2-foot thing, but
Yeah, and actually the retaining walls, it says that log and railroad ties may be used in some areas of minimal visibility on a limited basis.
oh, okay, well, that sounds
That's
good.
page 50, and that's book 2, but I would, they're
It's
in,
in book 3, it's on page 81. It says basically the same size, same thing.
Okay, do you want them to actually put in an application for this then?
Well, it says under that, log and railroad ties may be utilized if horizontal method of construction is utilized. Their appropriateness will be determined on a case-by-case basis. So that implies coming to the DRC.
Okay, all right, that was her question. Can we
And-
look at that as an amendment to their original application?
yes.
Or are they gonna have, okay, all right, I'll tell Jen tomorrow then. All right. That's all I got. We got minutes from March 25th, it looks like.
Speaking of fences, where are we with the guy with the fence? Or the people with the fence?
Oh, they actually have lowered the fence and we're gonna come back to us for approval on it. So it's not taken down, but it's been made the appropriate height.
Oh,
And they'll be actually back at your next meeting.
okay. Just cleaning up.
So I'm looking at the minutes here on the house we just did from the last meeting. And it says that we made these stipulations. Are those all really stipulations? Do we want them on the final that I fill out? Or these are just things that we, like, we're not stipulating the windows and doors or wood frame. I mean, they are.
You mean on this application tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fine on the minutes, but I don't think they're technically all stipulations.
Joan, are the bottom set of stipulations? See, there are two sets of them.
Yeah, I see. And I mean, these are all still part of our process and they did come back with all of this.
Okay, so,
So that was stipulations for returning to us for the final approval, I think.
then change the word stipulation, that's all.
Okay, so,
Members required the following.
okay.
Are you looking at,
On Marv Geisness and Tom
25th?
Peters on the 25th, yeah.
okay, so required?
Yeah,
On the second set, Susan.
Yeah, okay.
so required, not stipulated. And the top group is not stipulations either. Those are actual facts. Just the driveway could be a stipulation because that's not ever covered in the guidelines.
You could say instead of where it says members made the following stipulations, members made note of the following.
Yeah. Or require, whatever, yes. Yeah, oh, I see, on the first one, yeah.
You want to do it, yes.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
I want to take a nap now.
Okay, we're almost done, Cindy.
I'll let you do that.
A lot of highway today.
Oh,
How much highway?
We woke up in Utah someplace.
Hmm. Okay,
hopefully you weren't driving when you woke up. Okay, anybody got a motion for me?
Motion to adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Okay. All right, I think that does it for us. Thanks, everybody.
thank you.
Okay, I froze up. Who was the second there?
Me,
Betsy Blixen.
Okay, thanks.
I made the motion.
And now we're adjourned, Susan.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Night.
Yes. Hey, I'm gonna run into people on the street, actually see them in real life.